Master3 a 6-minute window of opportunity to stay into the game rather than having the 5th Dragon win condition right then and there. So I feel like it was a misplay on the part of World 6.
Yeah, I think so too. But we are into the draft now. Kalista banned by M3, Victor and Ezreal the bans there for Vici. So 2 mid lane bans going to get thrown in. Rise going to be added to the pile. Very common ban, usually aimed at the top lane. But maybe Vici just trying to save themselves some minutes here on the clock here, banning the Ezreal.
Yeah, and Dade did have, you know, a decent performance,
Yeah,
not just in this game, but last game as well. Still kind of questionable about the itemization.
This is interesting. A Rek'Sai banned by... Sorry, that's actually M3 on the blue side. We swapped. Oh, I'm so trolled. That is Vici. Never mind. A Rek'Sai banned for Vici. That does make sense.
Yeah, this makes sense.
But the response is a Gragas ban from M3. They're like, if we're not getting it, you're not getting it either. See what happens.
This puts Condi in a very scary situation. I feel like he's actually going to go back to Lee Sin.
I think so too. I mean, particularly if Vici first pick Echo here, which is a possibility.
I think they'll prioritize Shen.
I think so too. Shen's been a really
Shen or
popular
Victor. Oh
pick.
no, Victor's banned.
Victor's banned. Wouldn't be waiting here for 30 seconds if Victor was banned. I don't think Victor wasn't banned.
Where is he? I keep putting it in and I just can't find it, coach.
You can see coach they're talking to that mid laner. Pong had a good game on Twisted Fate. Again, not a whole lot of team play. I don't think that's his fault necessarily. In the fights they had, he certainly performed well on the Twisted Fate.
Ooh.
Long time. I think they must be asking their mid laner, hey, do you want this? We want to pick it for you. And they do first pick Azir away from Dade there as well.
Wow, okay, prioritizing the Azir over the Shin priority, as well as the Echo priority. I mean, that said, it's not a big deal to take Echo away from Condi. We saw that, you know, he wasn't able to perform on the last game, but really curious, giving priority pick to the sub, Huang.
Yeah, and it's a fine pick. Azir's still very strong, but I think Shen will be here for Lupa. I wonder what else they want to take away here. Still
also empowers Vici's natural tendency about being, you know, objective focused. Now Azir will bring a lot of 5v5 and Vici have found a lot of success when Hatong picks up this champion, but the idea that he empowers so much siege and zone control over turrets is really big for them.
I was about to tell you, have you noticed that Pong just only plays Hatong champions?
Oh look, Condi.
Yep, back to Lee Sin. There's Janna actually taken away from Mata. You will get your wish, Frosco, and Rue will finally play a quote-unquote real support champion.
Oh boy, I'm really excited to watch him build Zeke's Herald on Janna.
I'm ready for Zeke's Herald on Janna. Don't you dare suggest that you don't want that. I'm sure you do.
I do.
You do. Well, you might get it. Rue is pretty crazy, but he is going to be on Janna. Very different support from what we've seen. Seen a lot of, again, Aurelia, Shen, Nautilus. Even though some of those are, you know, kind of funky top laners, funky supports, definitely an engaged theme to the three of them as Thresh goes over to Mata, and I assume that World 6 will take Echo here.
Now remember, Thresh was banned last game. We talked about how Mako and Mata are pretty much the only 2 supports that will continuously ban or draw out support bans, and for good reason.
For very good reason. Mata's Thresh, arguably better than his Janna. I think there's a strong argument either way, but he's an excellent player through and through.
The interesting thing about his Thresh is you think about, you know, like really famous Threshes like Mad Life, and of course the skin is Mata's Thresh. And Mata and Mad Life, they're very different Thresh players. You think about like kind of the crazy creative reach plays that Mad Life created. Mata is just, I am going to 1v2 you in lane as Thresh. I am that oppressive in my control and my precision and everything that this champion allows me to do, versus like I'm going to make these crazy sick plays that push the champion to the limits.
Well, I guess we'll see what happens here. As I think there was a misclick from Mata. Accidentally had Corki. With the Draven being hovered, but Kassadin Sivir actually picks it for M3 Dade, another hyperscaling mid laner, but into Azir, which isn't too bad.
I really like Kassadin into Azir just because, again, the Emperor's Divide means less with how mobile Kassadin is with his Riftwalk. Likewise, in conjunction with Condi's Lee Sin. So a big issue that a lot of teams will find in drafting is that they'll draft Kassadin with a ramping jungler like Echo, whereas then you just get really punished because the enemy jungler can just take that as a sign to invade you because your Kassadin can't assist you. So by taking a strong early jungler, it does shore up Kassadin's initial weakness.
Yep, looks to do so here. Is actually Hacker the pick and Corki going to be the AD carry. So a bit more aggression here for Vici. I do like some of the change up here. I assume that's Hecarim for Dandy. Doesn't have Smite just yet here. We'll see what happens as Lupa hasn't gone to it all series until now. Looking at it now, might not get it, but he's been playing a lot of Shyvana recently. It was unbanned in game number 1, I believe, and just didn't even look at it. Had Shen instead. Did he? Oh yeah, Shen and then.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna Why isn't he playing Singed?
I don't know. He's playing Shyvana. Kind of like Singed.
Kind of like Singed. Is also taking the Smite, so we'll see what he chooses to itemize there. A lot of, I think actually all of the Shyvanas in the LPL have been itemizing Cinderhulk on challenging Smite versus the Devour. Now again, this is 5.13, so if they want to mix it up, they would have the Devour available, but I just don't think that they get enough time to farm it up. Same
thing by Dandy there as well. Has Smite, gonna go Cinderhulk, seen this a lot from Dandy. It's one of his, I feel like the first top laners he really played. When he transferred to top lane in the summer. And looks great on it. Vici again, another great draft here. I think they've kind of played circles on M3, forcing Condi onto an arguably inferior jungle pick once more. He can do great things on Lee Sin, but it's difficult in this meta, man. Cinderhulk is real tricky for Lee Sin.
I mean, that said, Condi has single-handedly won games with a single insect maneuver on his Lee Sin. It, again, speaks to kind of the strength and the comfort of that pick offers him. We saw, you know, how devastating it was to put him on Echo, and he doesn't have the repertoire on that champion, so maybe things will go better this time around.
Maybe, and World 6 on that Echo. We'll see what he gets done with the pick there. We're going to have Pwong versus Dade, Azir versus Cassinan, something a little bit different. And Schwan going to go a bit more aggressive here into the Sivir on SMLZ. Not the best matchup in the early levels, but level 6, it is all good times. And Mata on Thresh might be all the carry pressure they need against Royals Janna, who's finally playing a real support.
I feel like every time Mata gets Thresh, we have First Blood at like 2 minutes, and then he just immediately starts ganking around the map with Mobies and just murders people.
Well, could be fun. See what happens. Can Mata murder people with the Mobies? We're going to find out soon. Let's get onto the riff for game number 2. Welcome back onto the Rift here as we are into game number 2 between Vici and M3. Week 9, day number 3 for us going as both teams still looking for some points here, but M3 feel like they're a little recent, not even streak, but the little stroke of luck that nice 2-0 that got them towards the top 4.
Ran out.
Starting to fall, further and further behind. And Vici are a team that are racking up more and more wins, and that is great news for Vici. Getting themselves out of the bottom 4 into that top 4 as far as the top 8 playoff teams are concerned. As we do see Vici going for an invade, just a bit of vision. Oh, Condi grabbed up there by Mata. Condi forced a flash, and the First Blood eluded this time, but almost got in under a minute to make Frostgone look like a genius.
Oh man, it's like I just watch a lot of Vici gaming. No, okay, Vici.
Hang on, you do watch a lot of Vici gaming.
Yeah, I do watch a lot of Vici gaming. Vici, again, they have the earliest average First Blood timer. They always make a level 1 invade, and anytime Mata gets Thresh, he always makes these disgustingly early plays with either a double flay or a beautiful death sentence. There's a reason why this champion is banned against him. We want to talk about the snowball factor for Vici. It's almost always on the back of Mata.
I'm sure how I feel about Mata not playing his own skin, but I can respect the man.
Normally he does.
Not today. Deep Sea Thresh instead. As you do see SMLZ and Ruo teaming up with Condi going for a late invade on the red buff here. And with no lane swap, this actually might be a nice little steal. Condi with some help actually. Going to be stealing away this buff.
Yep. So we will have a lane swap. It's going to be SMLZ, excuse me, Schwan and Mata up into the top side. Now, what I love about lane swap is specifically for Vici is that, again, it unlocks Mata to roam around and to impact the map.
With those Moby boots that we're getting, he'll be getting nice and early. Danny World 6 team up there, and you're right. Just a lane swap there with the early invade onto red. Is the M3 no Vici? You want to come here?
Mata peeking in to figure out where Looper is.
Hasn't spotted him yet, though. Looper's going to walk over to the other side of the jungle, start taking away camps from Condi, who's, of course, taking camps on Vici's jungle. A lot of early, elegant map movement here, but all kind of makes sense here. The general landscape.
So this used to be, when Cassinan was really big kind of last year, in Korea specifically, anytime you saw a Cassinan, it would be an answer by an Alistar pickup, just because Alistar has great gank potential level 3. And the idea is that you gank Cassinan before he's level 6 and put him down. So I'm actually really curious if that's going to be what Vici's tactic is, especially because Mata's unlocked and able to roam around. If we'll maybe see Pong bounce this wave, center it again, and see a 3-man dive on Dade.
Cool. Bounce will happen, sorry, as the wave hits the turret. Starting to clear out CS relatively easily. Cassinan actually pretty good last hitting under turret. But again, Dade back on a hyperscaling mid lane of Kassadin. This game, as we were last game, Q's serious itemization goes, but Kassadin in general, you've sort of noted this recently, is that 513, great patch for Kassadin.
I think Kassadin is top tier pick right now, especially because Azir is still relatively strong. Likewise, Victor is very strong, and we've seen specifically in the LPL, Kassadin as a perfect answer to Victor because he's able to get on top of him and punish the fact that he is very low mobility. And again, like you said, 5.13, it gave you straight buffs to Roa, more cost-efficient item, and Kassadin loves that item.
And if anyone's going to do the super crazy mana build, it is going to be Dade. We could be in for the tier Roa action here, which again, both items got relative buffs, but early Dragon for M3 instead. Going to pick it up there in the lane. So M3 playing the swap very nicely out.
Look at how proactive they're being now that Condi's on a jungler that he knows how to play.
Yeah. It's almost like
comfort wins.
Yeah, I mean, that's true of M3 in general, I feel like. That's certainly something that Dade has always embodied as a player, although recently that's changed a little bit, even though he has stuck to, I'm going to say like, a relatively strict champion pool. He's actually mixed it up a bit as far as traditional picks go.
No, I think that's actually a fair assessment of Dade. See how he's going to perform on this Kassadin. He doesn't have the best Kassadin stats, actually, since his time in China. In fact, a lot of Dade's stats, unfortunately, got really punished from his transfer over. But that said, I mean, playing vastly different number of games from Korea to China.
Important to note as well that smites for both top laners means that we have a lot of jungle following happening. And these AD carries have been abandoned by their relative supports. Everyone's roaming around trying to get some sort of foothold. And the AD carries being left to farm by themselves.
Mata been relatively quiet though, hasn't been that roam that we thought he would be, and likewise Dade creeping up closer and closer to that level 6 on Kassadin, so the window of opportunity is definitely closing for any sort of gank priority on him. He is doing a good job making sure that the wave is pulled towards his tower, so he's never putting himself in a sticky situation.
Yeah, and down the bottom side, Dandy actually goes to region on the top lane, but lane's pretty far back towards SMLZ's tower. Like mentioned in game number 1, does like to freeze that back there quite a bit. It's Condi again, looking for someone, doesn't find a camp or a jungler.
He needs to be really careful. There's no reason for Condi to be invading right now. Yes, Lee Sin, I mean, does a decent in the 1v1 matchup against Echo, but he has, like, look at his AD carry, pushed in. Look at his mid laner, pushed in. And his mid laner's not even there right now. Like, if he got caught in that jungle, it's so easy for Vici to collapse and murder him.
And instead, Condi does back away, but double longsword, moving in for a quick brutalizer. It's a warrior, I have to assume. Means that Condi has one thing on his mind. Let's get the snowball rolling early and really try and take out Vici.
Ready, Condi.
Well, right now, hasn't been able to find anything. Good warning from Vici, thwarting a lot of the early pressure. But Dade does return to mid lane. Catalyst now completed. And we're on the way for at least an early run of ages.
Looper needs to be careful.
Yeah, I mean, they can kill him. They're going to find the hook there. Good play back there as well. Foster's from time nicely to some poke. Looper will be okay, but not that tanky like you know.
Former teammates.
Yes.
Looper and Mata. They're not teleporting to my lane when I called for it.
Mata now going to clear out a pink ward as well. And again, slow and steady here. 7 minutes in. No first blood just yet, but M3 should have a bit of a gold lead, interestingly enough.
It averages around 4 minutes, by the way, if anyone was curious.
So, Beach and first blood time?
Yeah.
SMLZ starting to pressure now. I feel like M3 want to open up the map. Get that Lee Sin deep into the jungle and try and find some picks. SMLZ starting to put the pressure on. And Dandy forced back on level 4. Both top laners actually very starved in these two different 2v1s.
SMLZ, Condi, and Ruo doing a good job getting a lot of pressure down on this tower, but more importantly, like you said, starving out the top laners. Dandy finally getting back over onto his tower, so we can start picking up this CS and more importantly, the experience.
Yep, Condi tries to steal red, does do so successfully. Mata not there in time to intercept that, but he is going to babysit down in the bottom lane. Actually, Schwan coming down as well. So we're going to have a swap back here. Vici, understandably, wants to make sure they're back in position. The dragon, even though it's back up in I think 2 minutes.
Yeah, actually, I think this tells me that Vici don't realize, I mean, they will have realized at some point that the dragon was taken, because obviously they can click the enemy team and see that they have the initial dragon buff.
Cool, Mata caught out there. Dade's down here as well. Ignite is through. That might be first blood. It does go to Condi. SMLZ even popped his ulti as Dade with a roam. Gonna get his team first blood.
I've never seen Dade leave the mid lane this early. Fantastic on the roam there. Doesn't pick up the first blood himself, but does get the assist. And that's what you want from your Kassadin.
And Pwong almost doing enough damage to take out the mid turret, but Dade will get blue buff and go back to his lane. Should be able to push Azir off that turret. Make sure that stays relatively healthy.
That was relatively still a very curious swap back from the dual lane from Vici. Did he just die to
Yep, he did just die to the Grump. Disappointing.
So Mata and anyway, Mata and Xuen swapping back bottom. Mata face checks. It's weird because you would expect that they would still have control of that area because the numbers advantage was still there. So frankly, I think that was just misplayed.
Well, Mata gets first blooded instead of getting first blood.
Oh, how the tides have turned.
Down. We do see early items coming out for the AD carries. We have sword for Sivir, Phage there for Corki. Everything proceeding as normal here in this game.
Talk about early itemization. Mata's sitting on a ruby crystal. That's it. That's all he's got.
I like it. Sightstone movies probably coming in. I think you were the one to point out that Mako kind of took after Mata in that way.
Mako is Mata reincarnated.
That is quite a theory.
Yep, I'm working on it. I've got a fan fiction going for it.
Is it? Well, you might have some time to write. Decent case this game will go long.
The working title.
Given the last thing is Danny going to get ganked. Condi really opening things up as Lupa gets the kill.
Okay, so Condi had a window of opportunity to gank towards the top lane. That said, Dragon is now up and available. We'll see if they can reset themselves to contest for that, or if Vici are going to collapse, especially because they have so much control.
World 6 here. Dade gets knocked back. Condi here. Maybe just in time. World 6 has to be careful. Might actually be the one getting killed. Q's away there to Pong. Does get away. Maybe not enough damage. Really smart play from Conde to save Dade.
And I was just going to say, because Vici have so much control over this mid lane since Pong has just been pushing Dade in and chipping away at the tower, this surely will mean the Dragon, but both teams need to reset their health bars.
Oh, Ruo actually getting a tornado there onto Schwan, but Mata coming down as well. SMLZ has to be careful in the trades. Already used the spell shield there as well. And Corki, this is where this lane starts to shine against Sivir.
Yep, once Corki is level 6, he's able to really proc and abuse her spell shield with his rockets and his phosphorus bomb, so she can no longer eat a majority of his damage.
Sivir going back actually might be ceding control of the Dragon, but Schwan will stay.
Gonna stagger the backs.
Makes sense. Sun turret goes down in mid lane. So Dandy and Lupa, sorry, continue farming up in the top lane for themselves. And Morello Nomicon completed for Wong, but Dade with a Rod of Ages. So early mid lane itemization coming out as well as Vici.
Really early.
In a rare misstep. Going to miss this Dragon.
Typically, roll will come out around 15 minutes, so grabbing this one at 11 minutes. Great timing window for Dade. And like you said, a rare misstep from Vici means that Master3 complete night and day 180 performance from first game to second game, and again on the back of Condi.
Yep, I was just about to say the one variable really does seem to be Condi here. And Lee Sin, again, not the most popular champion in this metagame, but definitely come a pick for Condi. He makes it work, and it's just the attitude almost. His team feels so much more confident to play up in the lanes, to be aggressive, because they know Condi's actually going to be there to save them.
No, I completely agree. It's weird.
It is. But that's M3 in a nutshell. 1,000 gold up though. Oh, never mind. Oh, just about. 900. We'll make it 1,000 there for M3. Give him the benefit of the doubt as Condi's...
They're about to take a tower. You'll have it.
Stalking someone.
No, he's just providing vision to make sure that Ruo and SMLZ can push forward safely without warning of a flank. And likewise, again, because his bot lane has so much more control. So I criticized Condi on his earlier invade just because his bot lane didn't have control, neither did his mid lane. But since Dade now has the Rod of Ages, and his bot lane was so far forward, it opens up Condi to be that far forward.
And now steal the red buff.
Although this is dangerous.
This is dangerous.
Because his bot lane is back. So Condi, I take away the compliment. That's still really sketch.
Nice steal. Does get it though instead. World 6.
Oh, he sees where World 6 is on the board, that's why.
Dade was also there as well. Probably going to beat Pwong to the punch there as Dade does do what I thought he was going to do. Tear of the Goddess after Rod of Ages.
Hyper mana build.
Yep, this is Dade all over. And that's the interesting thing. We've seen Kassadin quite a bit recently, actually.
I think Kassadin's really strong on 5.13. I wish more teams would pick him up, but hold on. Condi standing on a ward.
Not good news. Gets halted back there by Wong. Has to queue over. Just like, I don't really have anywhere to go. Can't go over that wall. Kicks him away. Will still die. World 6 cleans him up.
He should have just walked back to Dade and walked through the tower. I think he was trying to time the Emperor's Divide to queue just as it was going down, but probably about a second, 2 seconds off.
Don't know how many times it's come up in your games either. That's a tricky one to catch. But back to Kassadin.
Oh, yeah.
We've sort of seen people go away from the Athene skill, which has been interesting.
I never really... I mean...
You didn't like that build?
The mana regen is
That'd be special.
fine, but I just think that... I don't know.
See, that build was all
I'll have to do the math
That
on
build
it
was all
before I
about getting
comment.
resets, remember?
Yeah.
But now, it feels like Kassadins are just doing that anyway by making sure they weave in auto attacks with their W when it's active. And that's what we saw from Doinby when we last saw him play it. Went Athene's-less, but had enough mana just from really smart usage of his cooldown.
Well, also on 5.13, Athene's was one of the few AP items that really wasn't touched at all. And so it just doesn't make sense in kind of the current context of the AP items that you would look towards that build again versus what Dade is doing with the tier Roa, what Doinby did with the Roa into, what does he do? Yeah. So many different options.
Ooh, Dandy, nice teleport here, gonna flank around SMLZ and Ruo. SMLZ looking to die, does use his heal. Teleport might be here in time for Lupin. No, Schwan gonna get the kill as Dandy saves his ulti to try and take out Jana, but Lupin now gonna get tracked here by Wong. Forced to use his ultimate out. They don't really have any CC left. Good tornado there from Jana's gonna save them, and Dade is scooping in to try and clean out the fight. Mata gets low. Dade does not pull the trigger though.
They burned a lot of cooldowns. Emperor's Divide is still up and available, so I don't think Dade wanted to commit on that because it could just very easily be disengaged by, I mean, a fairly big nuke.
Well, Schwan with the Trinity Force there as well, making that kill relatively easy. But M3 actually still have a gold lead here, about just under 2,000 gold ahead. But back to farming positions here.
Forcing Vici to fight them, and Vici are trying to be reactive, but again, this is not Vici's game. This is not where they like to sit.
No, but that was a nice little transition. Everyone moving up there to join that fight as Pwong is getting stronger and stronger on this as even just now able to force out decent trades onto Dade.
Speaking of old skill builds, Wong still rocking the Morellos.
Yeah, that was curious, but just fine. Corky's on the bottom side, going to clear this out. Curious to see where Vici go next. Corky's a champion I feel like we don't associate that much with Vici. Because it's just, again, it's all about those like early game rotation styles where you push down towers. And Vici are good at pushing down objectives, but I feel like they do it a little slower than, say, the likes of EDG, who really sort of brought the Corky strategy to the forefront in 2015.
No, I completely agree. Obviously, you do have good synergy between Corky and Azir Siege on turrets just because of your poke. Likewise, I do think that Corky is really well suited into the current 5.13 meta. A lot of magic damage on these teams. Abyssal is very strong. It's going to empower Corky. I just really like where Corky is right now as we come closer and closer to Worlds. Hey, Corky's coming back.
Yep, of course. Has to be back. Graves is making some appearances, so Eddie Carey's gone full circle there. Lupa getting stronger. Actually, 2 levels up on Dandy is quite impressive here.
I feel like this will also bring back Lucian. I feel like Lucian right now is being used as a bit of a niche pick, but anytime Corky's strong, it brings back Lucian because Lucian has a fairly decent matchup against Corky.
Yeah. We have seen some players pick that exact matchup.
I believe Uzi was the last person to play Lucian.
That doesn't surprise anyone.
No, I'm waiting for the wave to come back where people, as Corky gets more and more priority.
I feel like we're almost back to Graves Corky Lucian as our trifecta. We had Jinx in there for a while. She was messing up everything.
Vayne's still here.
Oh, Vayne.
I feel like right now we're Sivir, Vayne, and Corky.
Because before it would have been Sivir Jinx.
Get in there, World 6.
Going in? Nope, Lupa smites it away. Martha actually going to pop the box as Dade trying to get in there.
Good reset from Ruel.
Nice Jana play.
There's no reason to fight. You just got the free dragon, so just walk away.
Yep.
Not even worth it.
That's
If you
exactly what they do.
Exactly. If you had died there, it probably would have meant another tower.
All of a sudden, I feel like the team's roles have reversed.
I feel like Dade loses the first game, and then he just gets mad and goes Super Saiyan. Not necessarily in his... Dade said it in an interview. Anytime the team loses, he's disappointed with himself because he feels like he doesn't communicate well enough with the team. And that if the team wants to do better, he needs to... And this is Dade himself saying, I just need to communicate with my team. I need to talk to them more. So I feel like first game, they lose, and Dade's like, oh, time to take things into my own hands.
And look, M3 are 3 dragons up to 0. Looper is having a field day in his top lane matchup ahead of Dandy. And Dade's farming away on Casa and stacking that tier. Still ahead on Dandy in levels, actually going to the top lane to split push. And again, it feels like Vici, the one trying to force fights, and M3 are running away, taking dragons. What? What? Well, see you, mate. Dandy gets wrecked.
Sure.
I don't even know how that happened.
We'll get a
I
replay.
can't think conceptually how that happened in my
He
head.
has Onslaught of Shadows, too. That's the best part, is he had the skill to run away.
Dade's Ignite. Apparently too much there in the top lane. And M3 all of a sudden, again, putting pressure.
All the battle stats the tier gives you. Your sick mana.
Seriously don't know how that happened. But that's good news for M3 all of a sudden.
It's just, it has to be. There's no other way to look at that and say Onslaught of Shadows is up. You just lost to a tier Roa Ignite Kassadin. That's a misplay. There's no other way to go about that.
Well, Ignite pretty strong apparently. Not able to get himself a solo kill. Let's watch this one. He just gets owned. Kassadin does so much damage.
He just died before he realized what happened.
I mean, that's Kassadin. Like, we've seen this. His damage always been strong.
I think Kassadin's like...
I'm not disagreeing with you. Well, on that, yes. But I think Kassadin's strong also. Who knows? Maybe we'll start to see more of him. Dobby's been playing him a bit.
We're starting to see a ton of Kassadin. He was already kind of a niche... Ooh.
Nice spell shot.
That was my death sentence sound effect.
Oh, that was great.
Yep.
Get your Frosty announce pack soon. Somewhere on the internet.
Super Saiyan. That's my Pensacola. Yep. Get in there.
Gonna clear. Alright, some minions. Again, M3 doing a nice job of just, in a weird way, like playing Vici's game.
They're playing Vici's game.
It's like,
it goes back to Condi, though.
Yes.
Condi was proactive. The dragon control, the vision control. He did go warrior enchantment, but he does have the sight stone available to them. Dade is even roaming more. Again, that's something that I don't think I ever see is Dade roaming out of his lane before 30 minutes. The fact that he got involved early bottom in the initial first blood, that he just killed Dandy randomly top lane. Here he goes. Look at him. Condi and Dade, the true carries of Masters3.
Oh,
Get in there.
Be careful, Dade going in. Forcing the flash actually from Mata after the lantern. But it's just more pressure here for M3. And Condi has a Phage in his inventory. I like where this is going.
I don't.
Really? You don't like the Black Cleaver potential?
The Black Cleaver Lee Sin.
Condi knows, man. He's got to make it work, all right? Team's down a game.
You know what, Masters3? You do you.
They always do that. Don't worry about it. This game is certainly an indication of that. Home guard boots for Dade. They're joining with the CDR boots. Again, been sort of a popular build on Castins when we've seen them recently. Cooldown boots, I feel like, are just people finally realizing how good those boots are.
CDR is a very expensive stat, and those boots are very cost efficient.
It's good times.
Especially with your runes, you get it very early. And again, it really rose up if you think about the Cinder Hulk meta when Faker traded out his AP per level or flat AP glyphs for CDR.
Yep.
Simply because you need to go through, and that was kind of the rise of Morello's as well. When Cinder Hulk was popular, you needed to go through more rotations of your spells to chip away because you weren't able to nuke people down anymore. So that's...
Look at this.
This is cute.
Danny's like, do not want to face Dade. Get him away from me. Dade split pushing down in the bottom lane now.
2 OGN titles on 2 different teams. What do you have, Dandy? A world championship? You think I care?
No, Dandy does not care right now. In a nice PowerPoint. Just honestly challenging anyone to come to the mid lane and fight him. SMLZ's busy tying up Azir in the mid lane. He'll be just fine. Actually needs the farm. It's a smart spot for him to be in. And again, M3 running Vici around the map. They're 3 dragons up to 0.
I just want to continue to watch Dade just chase Dandy around. I want him to find Mata next. There we go.
No, Dada's actually moving back mid, looking to maybe gain.
I'm telling you, I want him to go after Mata now.
Oh, going after the Azir. Oh, Looper actually in trouble. I say that as a question because he's fairly tanky as Shyvana. Able to burn out and speed himself away, and all of a sudden, Azir out of position, can't defend this seed. Really smart movement from M3.
They're just pulling them around if you think that Vici are on a, like a small dog on a leash.
Yep. Running him around a little pole.
Exactly.
Couple here for Looper. He pops his ulti. Ruo gets ulted, but Dade going to go
Oh,
in the back.
wow.
Great trying to play Mata. Going to get eaten there by Dade, and he's just going to keep going. Run if you can. It's a good ulti trying to disengage them.
Oh.
World 6 though. Dade going in deep. Can't quite finish it off. Doesn't tag anyone. Condi too far forward as Dade goes in deep and forces a 2-for-1.
What looked like an incredible play for Ruo, which it totally was, separating most of that fight out with a fantastic Monsoon. Dade steps to the side, knowing that he can't Rift Walk. He flashes over and then Rift Walks into 3 people to try to do burst damage, immediately explodes.
Dade is angry.
I
have no other way to put it in this game than Dade is mad.
That was super cute.
Because he has been playing really aggressively this game, and it's great to watch M3 have a change here. So they do take the dragon away. We've got a Archangels now up for Dade as well, so charging in towards that Seraph.
That is a 30-minute 5th dragon win condition for Masters3.
And they're playing Vici Gaming.
They are playing Vici Gaming.
Who are the 30-minute 5-dragon team.
But this is the thing. All you have to do against Vici is you just have to fight them. Like, yes, it is a very low-kill game, but Masters3 have been all over the map trying to fight Vici, and Vici have just kind of been scrambling away from them.
I feel like Vici's the ones that are trying to fight M3. But like, I guess like if you get scared and then like, oh, we're behind in dragons now, then you have to force yourself to fight them. But you're right, that is not Vici's comfort zone, and it shows. It really shows in this game. It showed in the last game. They wouldn't fight them at 45 minutes.
I really want to see Dade flash into 5 people again.
Well, this is Black Cleaver for
This is typically why we itemize Hourglass on Kassadin, so you can do that and not be punished.
Assume he's building it third.
Yeah, I would assume so.
But we've seen Dade do stranger things already today.
Time to build
Gonna
QSS.
get blue for himself as Looper face checks
Get in there.
World 6 getting aggressive. Mata lines up the hook, does not connect. And that'll force them to disengage.
This is really uncharacteristic from Mata. I don't think I've actually seen him land a hook yet.
Landed the first one. Almost got first blood on the Condi.
Oh, this is correct.
But you're right. It's not been the same impact we've expected from a champion like Thresh on Mata.
And
didn't roam around. Like, it's a different game for Vici, through and through.
Vici play really well when ahead, but they have no idea how to play from behind because, again, they're a very one-dimensional team. It's about making macro movements. They don't know how to team fight. So if you think about like Snake, Xiaogu, OMG, who are so good at fighting from a gold deficit, Vici, they need a gold surplus to even put them on even footing for a 5v5.
And we saw M3 had a shot at last game just because of that very fact. They were trying to force fights, couldn't quite get them onto Vici, and Vici were able, with some smart map pressure, to take the game away. They are getting stronger though, but Dade still hunting Dandy in the bottom lane, trying to get more fun for himself. Mid laners are getting quite strong. Pong is actually up at 30 CS, and he has a death cap.
Dandy just gets flashbacks anytime Dade roams down. He's like, oh god,
I would be worried.
He two-shot me.
He's pretty scary. Dade needs level 16, that's probably his next big point of power, but expecting that Zoni's to come after that.
The next big point of power is that 5th dragon. That's all. Masters3 are just buying time right now. They know. They have the game end in their sights. And Vici will have to pull the trigger.
Yep, double smites for both teams as well. It means that when you start an objective, you tend to finish it if you're the first one there. So Looper going to get stronger. He's really just been going full Looper this game. And not in the bad way. That used to be a
diving towers for no reason.
That used to be a what are you doing thing for Looper. He's just in his comfort zone. Split pushing on Shyvana, getting tankier and tankier. Eventually he'll join a fight. If he has to teleport, he will. But right now, Vici are not forcing him to do anything other than what he wants.
No, you're completely correct. Has built up a CS discrepancy. That said, we do have 40 CS difference between our 2 mid laners, Hwang and Dade. Naturally, Azir, much easier to farm on him with his Sand Soldiers.
Dade's going Abyssal, by the way. So, seems fine. Like, I get Zonius, but I think Abyssal's like the only other acceptable option in this situation. Does have Seraphs now as well, so has a bit more of a shield. So that Negatron Cloak's actually really nice with the current itemization.
I agree with the shield and the MR versus the stasis effect.
If he goes like Rabadon's 4th, I'll be like, Not sure how I feel
He'll
about
probably
that,
go
Dade.
Rylai's knowing it's Dade.
That'd be great.
You think I'm joking.
No, I know you're not joking.
He loves that
He
item.
really does. I'm surprised he has. I'm like, he got buffed. I'm surprised he hasn't just Rylai's
Was
all the
he
champions.
the one who brought it out in Ezreal, or was that punished?
No, he did that as well.
Okay, yeah, he
think
ran
they
the
both did it.
Rylai's AP Ezreal.
That was great. Dade's split pushing. Legitimate split push threat.
Yeah, this is what Godby likes to do on his Cassidy as well, naturally, because you have such high mobility with the Rift Walk and you're able to be a nuisance. He is also very far ahead. Not quite level 16, but does have that level 15.
Hoovering up solo lane farmer, going to make that a bit easier.
Hoovering.
As Condi takes out the Raptor for himself. Minute 30 till Dragon. We've seen a lot of M3 wave pushing going on, but should all converge on one point here, and that is going to be Dragon at number 5.
They're doing a good job making sure that their waves are prepped. You see that Looper's leaving that wave. It will turn into a slow push towards Vici, unless they send Dandy to deal with it. The Dragon will be spawning in 1 minute, so can Master3 just hang out and control this last objective?
Good Lupo trying to take the Scuttle Crab around Baron for a bit of insurance over the Dragon, but won't get it as dead. Dade does get the tower in the bottom lane. 4-1 actually up in turrets. M3 again all over the objectives this game.
This is massive too, because you have 2 towers down on the bottom side of the map, whereas the outer tower is still standing for Master3. That means they have complete control over this Dragon Pit just in terms of wave pressure.
Yep, and you can see Vici pinging around the Dragon Pit, but 35 seconds too early there on that particular play. M3 have plenty of time to get back into the area. Make sure they're here to get vision and, of course, take the objective itself.
Big thing about Azir is that he has great objective control, but you need to make sure, like Victor, that he's on top of the objective and has his Sand Soldiers in place before it goes up. 17 seconds. This is going to be the play.
Oh, Mata in the brush there. Good pink one. Dade going to get flayed back. Hook will land. He flashes it. Dandy ults as well. Vici have very few cooldowns left. They're going to go back in now. World 6 getting jumped on. Looper just dives into the backline on top of their carries. Condi kicks out Pwong there as well. And Dade's chasing them around the side. He'll take out Corki. He needs to get a 0 as well. Rua, nice reset there on the ulti. And a brilliant collapse from M3. Going to give them a clean 5-man ace and the 5th Dragon.
That said, World 6 is still
Oh,
alive.
never mind. He's actually not dead. The ace not there yet. Can he go in?
Oh, he got it!
He does get it! Delays again for a little while longer. Dade, furious, chases him down. I don't know if he can get the kill. Parallel Convergence going to buy him some time. Dade gets the slow. Will get the ace, but Dragon stolen M3, who's a bit of wind in their sails.
Oh, wow. Okay, beautiful play from World 6 to make sure that he got the steal to deny the 5th Dragon. They don't quite get the ace. They trade forward. Frankly, Dade should have been on the back of that pit zoning off and checking for Echo, so a bit of a miscommunication there. That said, with everyone dead, they immediately transition onto Baron.
I have seen this game before. Not 1 game ago, Crossgun.
Okay, this is what's beautiful about this team fight, is just how everyone collapses. Looper gets immediately into the back line, but check out where Dade is. He's taking a little bit of a stroll around, just kind of picking up all of the stray instances of Vici. Then go ahead, Rift Walk right on top of Pwong. He's going to pick up the last kill there, Dandy, for himself. Or excuse me, yeah.
And then World 6 has to ruin everything.
See, but Dade should just be on the back of the pit right here. They know that Echo's still alive. You can press tab, mate.
Maybe not. As the Baron does go to M3, but the Dragon is denied by Vici. And again, like I said, feel like I've seen this before, only in the last game. This time, though, it's M3 that have all the advantages.
See if they're able to crack the inhibitor line. They still need to go through the majority of the inner turrets, especially in the mid and the top lane. But right now, they are consolidating their Baron across all 3 waves.
Smart stuff here. Dade, they're going to keep clearing things out. Does have his Abyssal completed now as well. Also, Condi's got a last whisper because Condi things. And a giant spell there for Looper and Condi. So
Condi things.
Bruiser mode.
The
release in.
Flat Cleaver last whisper build.
Got to be relevant in the late game. Got to do damage. And to be tanky, that's Looper's job.
The only person he's empowering with that Black Cleaver, other than himself, is SMLZ.
And let's be real, it's just himself. SMLZ is enough. Thought.
I just feel like you could go Last Whisper and then,
Little tanky.
yeah,
Maybe.
you know, be worthwhile.
I just want to remind you that we are casting an M2 again. They just do
Likewise, joke's on me, Condi's winning.
Yeah, Condi is winning 2-1-5 there on the Lee Sin. Like you said, that comfort pick making a world of difference.
Night and day. Likewise, I mean, we talk about Looper and Dade all the time just because they are the, not the world champions in Dade's case, but the world champion in Looper's case. But the true carries of Masters 3 have been Condi and then whoever decides to step up. SMLZ, normally Dade, Looper occasionally.
And this game certainly, Condi, Looper, and Dade all stepping in together.
But it can't just be one. It has to be both of them. Condi and someone else.
Preferably, yeah, and it's preferably 3.
There we go.
Massive kick takes out Schwan. Dade going to dive into the backlines as Looper just descends in onto the turrets. SMLZ takes out Azir. M3 win a huge fight off the back of Lee Sin. Now looking to chase down the last kill. Dade wants revenge for the Dragon Seal. He pops back in with Chrono Break. Will live, but I don't know if his base will as Condi tags him, but will not follow.
Condi has done that so many times in so many Masters 3 games. Just comes up huge, finds these crazy late game insect plays. You know, full hero mode. Last Whisper, Black Cleaver, Warrior Enchantment.
We're not even late game here. M3 going to close out the game in under 35 minutes. A very different game too. Splits the series between M3 and Vici.
Entirely on the back of Condi.
Yep.
Yep.
He was the guy that started it all. He certainly finished it all with that tower dive.
Beautiful performance likewise from majority of the Masters 3 members. Dade in particular, I like to see him roaming around using that cast and pick. Pulling out his unique itemization as always.
Condi's great. M3 are great. They're just a team that you never know what to expect.
Masters 3.
Masters 3.
I love Dade's face after games. He never looks happy.
No. He's like either really sad, he's like, yeah, that was okay. Sly smile every now and then. There's a new Vici lineup. Falls in another game. Again, consistency for this team. Just been so problematic for them. If you look time and time again, no matter what changes they make, it feels like their problems still remain the same. And M3, really strong showing there in game number 2.
They can only play one style.
And they do it very well. But unfortunately, makes it quite predictable here as Condi puts the team on his back with the Lee Sin. Gets ahead early, and then Dade and Looper allowed to flourish in such an easy early game environment. It just looks so easy for M3. My only question is, hey, why don't they play this way every game?
This match was really important likewise for the ladder standings,
Yep.
just because Masters 3 and Vici are, alongside Invictus Gaming, are kind of the 3 that are sitting down towards the bottom, the gatekeepers, if you will, into that playoff standing. So the fact that they decided to split here, unlimited potential, again, the chance is still alive.
Yep.